Hello! In today's Archaeoscoop, my top 3 headlines are as follows. Headline number 1 actually comes from a place very close to my heart and very close to my hometown, a place called Mold in Flintshire, North Wales. It was here in the 1800s, 1833 I believe, that a golden cape was discovered in a Bronze Age burial. Now this golden cape has since entered the British Museum, and an infamy, I suppose, or infamy because it was rather mishandled by some of the people who found it, but also famine. It's become famous because it's one of the most significant finds from early Europe in Europe. But the site itself has somewhat been neglected. The find was so remarkable and so arguably early in archaeology's lifespan as a discipline that it wasn't really fully studied, the site. Last time it was dug actually was 1953, when almost nothing was found. However, a community excavation project has uncovered evidence of burned bone and pottery in the area, and this is possible, well, more than likely by the sounds of it, older than the gold cape which was found, the gold cape being around about 3,700 years old. Now, this indicates an earlier use of the land, and hopefully will start to give the golden cape a bit of a context, a bit of a timeline leading up to its appearance in the landscape as well, that burial's appearance in the landscape. So a very interesting story in so much as it's actually adding a bit of a backstory to a very famous object, very famous artifact, which I'll doubtless do an in focus video about at some point in the near future. So that's headline number 1. Headline number 2 actually is with regards to the analysis of burials on a craggy island, so-called, in the Norwegian Sea, where burials were uncovered in the 1980s by a farmer. But these burials were a little bit strange. Some of them had heads, some of them did not. And the assumption was that this was going to be a very complicated burial site. Well, analysis of nitrogen and carbon atoms in the bones of these skeletons has revealed, more likely than not, a distinct social difference between those with heads and those without. In other words, the people without heads were eating, it seems, seafood, that kind of stuff, very similar to the dogs found on the site, and the people with heads were eating, more likely than not, meat, milk, and that kind of more wholesome, well, not more wholesome, sorry, but a very different, very distinct, different type of food, different type of protein. In other words, it looks like you had wealthy people being buried with their slaves. So it's an interesting story, an interesting aspect of Norse society revealed through analysis of the isotopes in the bones. So a very interesting headline, I thought. That's headline number 2. Headline number 3 actually comes from the Portsmouth area, where in someone's garden, archaeologists have uncovered a Roman well. This well, as so many Roman wells ended up, was stuffed with goodies, stuffed with seemingly sacrifices and good luck stuff, good luck artifacts and votive offerings to the gods. The finds include a ring with an image of Neptune on it, and also the bones of 8 dogs, 8 fighting dogs, it seems, by the damage that they received in life. So, as the archaeologist involved, one of the archaeologists involved said, it's a pretty amazing find. It's as these Roman wells so frequently are, they are a snapshot, or I suppose maybe even a decade-long snapshot, or even longer, of belief, of the use of that part of the land, but also as well of potentially what people were thinking about in that part of the country. Namely, the Neptune's ring may well have been a votive offering by a sailor, hoping that his or her journey home would be fortuitous, or at the very least not kill them. So it's another interesting find in someone's garden. You never know what you're going to find in your garden. That's the moral of headline number 3. So there you go, there's my top 3 headlines today. For those news stories and all the other news stories in the past couple of days really, please do check out the links as ever below. They're there for your delectation and delight. Now I'm going to head off and do some experimental soup. I've got an experiment in mind, and hopefully the weather will hold out and allow me to do it. And you may see that later on today. So until next time, do take care, do enjoy those news stories, and goodbye.